Shall I start the session?
Yes, sir, you can start.
Yeah. Good morning, friends. So once again, we're going to discuss the chapter 3, whatever is left, and we'll move to the chapter 4. Okay. So for better bandwidth, I'm just switching out the video. Okay. Yeah, we have seen boundary controls. So cryptography, passwords, PIN number, identification cards, biometric devices that we have seen. Now today, input control. I think input control we have started, and we have to discuss. So the first one is source document control. So this is what we were discussing. Let's assume we are in a banking situation, banking environment. In banking environment, we have the demand drafts. Normally, it is printed and kept. The demand drafts will be issued once it is, signed by the branch manager. That's all. So it is a default printed. Only the amount has to be printed and it has to be signed. Suppose that document is kept without any control, without any security. So automatically what will happen, any person can take up that format or the printed documents and simply forge the signature as well as the amount and they can use it. So that's what is here mentioned as source document control. Second, B is data coding control. So what do you mean by data coding control? Coding means you are typing the numbers, codes. So in ERP you would have experienced for assets they'll be having some code 3001. It will come and start with 3001, 3002 like that. The assets will be starting with 3001. Similarly, liabilities. The liabilities code will start with 4001, 4002, 4003. Like that it goes on. So what does it indicate? If the code starts with 3, it indicates assets. And if the code starts with 4, it indicates the liability. So in such a scenario, there are two possibilities of, controls. Errors that could be, controlled. First one is transcription error. What do you mean by transcription error? Transcription error means wrongly typing the code. That's all, simple. Transposition error. You are right. You are typing the correct number, but in a wrong position. So to give an example, the same example yesterday we have given. 3001, 1003. That was reversed. But here, let us have another number. 4567. Instead of 4567, we may write 4576. One number is transposition. So that possibility is there. It has to be controlled. Then C, batch control. So when we discuss about batch control, we have to imagine the concept of online processing and the batch processing. What is online processing? Immediately after entering the transactions, it will be recorded. Say, for example, you are withdrawing money from ATM. Immediately your account is debited in the ledger. Similarly, if you deposit or transfer, it will get recorded. So that is online. What is batch processing? Batch processing, you deposit money in the bank. You deposit money with pay-in slip or withdraw money using withdrawal slip or checkbook, etc. So they will not make the entries immediately. So they will make the entries only after the business hours is over, because during the business hours, there will be a lot of queues. They cannot concentrate on, the customers. Therefore, they give more weightage to the attention to the customers after the crowd melts or after the business hours. They will slowly do the processing. During that time, so they will take up all the deposits. They will take up all the withdrawals separately, and they will process it 10 or 15 or 20 in batches. So that's called as batch processing. Now, regarding batch control, so for the first one is financial total. What do you mean by financial total? Suppose you are making entry for deposits. So 1% 5,000, 1% 10,000, 1% 15,000, 1% 1,000, like that, various persons would have deposited. All will be totaled together. And while they are making the entry, they will ensure that the manual total and the machine total should match. Then only there is no error. Otherwise, if there is a error, they will check it out. So it is a control. It is acting as a control. Similarly, hash total. What is hash total? They have 10 vouchers, let us assume. So 5 vouchers. It is very simple to calculate. 5 vouchers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the hash control is add all the number of the entries or number of vouchers. So in this case, 5. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. If you add it, it will become 15. So the 15 should be the hash total. The machine also should give the hash total of 15. If both are matching, there is no error. Otherwise, there is an error. So this is another control. Then document or record count. So record count means, so as we said in the hash total, they are total, but here it is not total, only counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like that. If 15 counts are there, then 15 should be there in the count. Otherwise, something is missing. If instead of 15, 16 is there, then something is duplicated. Like that, you can have the control. Then last one is validation control, D. Field interrogation, record interrogation, file interrogation. So let's move on to these controls so that we can have clear-cut discussion on field interrogation. It is simply meaning the validity should be there. So you would have studied in the beginning. So let's assume SRO number. SRO number should start with S or O, then the remaining 7 digits. If 8 digit is there, some mistake is there. If SRO is not found, then some mistake is there. Like that, we'll be able to fix the mistakes or errors using this validation control. If you type, let us say, roll number in the exam, there is no alphabets. You are having only the numbers. So if you try to type S or O, then it will pop up a message saying that you give valid input. So what is a valid input? The input here is numbers only and not the alphabets. So similarly, validation control works. Now the application controls and their categories. We have to see the validation control a little later. Communication control related to the transmission of data from one computer to another computer. So we have seen enough in transmission of data. So what are the controls? Physical component control. So all the components which are used for communication purposes should have proper control. Line error control. What is line error control? Line means communication line. Well, let's assume router A, router B, and router C. So all the 3 routers joined together should be able to communicate between them. If any of the line fails, then communication is not possible. So you should have a control over which are all the devices which is online and offline, so that you will be able to communicate without any flaw. Then flow control. What is flow control? The traffic which comes or transmitted may be congested, So in such a time, in such a situation, the traffic will be diverted through the wires or the communication medium where the data is less in number. Then link control. What is link control? So there is some protocol called as PPP, point-to-point protocol. What is this point-to-point protocol? You would have seen the buses which are flying between source and destination, point-to-point. So Chennai to Hyderabad, there is no stop in between. Similarly, various places. Similarly, in communication devices, router A to router D, direct connection. There is no in between, no connection. So both should be always online so that the communication will be seamless. Then channel access control. Through one channel, probably 5 or 6 computers may be sending the data. So which data, which time they are transmitting, it has to be channelized. Otherwise, there will be chaos, there will be jam. So that has to be removed using this communication control. And application control, processing control, processor, that is CPU should be having control. Real memory control, real memory and virtual memory. So what is real memory? The memory which is attached with the CPU. So we have already seen RAM, random access memory. You should have control over the RAM. Otherwise, the processing will be, cannot be processed properly. Then virtual memory. What is virtual memory? We have not seen that. I'll just explain this concept by using a small picture. So all of us are well aware of the RAM capacity. Let's say the RAM capacity say 2 GB or 4 GB, whatever it is. Now you have the hard disk. Hard disk is 1 terabyte, something like that, 1 TB. Whereas our hard RAM memory is 2 GB. So this is TB, whereas RAM is 2 GB, gigabits. Now, a processor, so let's say this is a processor, CPU, it needs the processing space. The space needed for processor to process is, let us assume that it is 3 GB, 3 GB. Now, what is the RAM available? Only 2 GB. So within 2 GB, it is impossible because the space needed is 3 GB. In this situation, what will happen? This will borrow a portion of it. This will borrow a portion of the hard disk from, a space of 1 GB from hard disk, and it will get attached. So the memory will be like this, right? So this is considered to be virtual memory. So for time being, it is added, and when it's over, it will be removed. So this concept is called as virtual memory. So you should have control over this virtual memory also. We will be studying this in chapter 4 also about while we are discussing cloud computing and grid computing. The last one is the data processing control. So during the data processing, we should have control over. There are various controls. Like one example is run to run control. 1 run, 2 run, 3 run. Like that, one process 2, process 3. The process 1 data will be the input for the second process, and we should ensure that it is properly processed and transmitted. Then database control. Students kindly mark this as important question, database control. There are 2 kinds of database control, namely update control as well as report control. So we all of us know database is nothing but logical arrangement of data in a sequential manner, in a logical manner. So example, train table. In database, there are 4 models like relationship model, hierarchy model, object-oriented database model, and one more model is there. Object-oriented, relational, hierarchical. I think it is mixed one, network model. Now, in these models, whatever be the model, it does not matter. We should have input, process, output. Input is data here, because database is nothing but a logical arrangement of data. So we will take an example of a railway table. So you can have railway timetable, the trains, the train schedule, the passenger number record, PNR table, and various other kind of tables will be there. Now, all the tables are individually created. Say, for example, if you want to take, for example, the railway timetable. So the railway timetable will contain the information like train number, then train name, source, destination, as well as departure and arrival time. So this is considered to be train timetable. Now, another table is the train schedule table. What is the train schedule table? Again, the same thing. Train number, train name, source, destination. But in between the source and destination, you will have various stations. So the station, when it will reach, what is the distance between one station and other station, as well as between the source and destination. All these things will be mentioned in that table. Everything will have one primary key, like train number can be considered as a primary key. Now, whenever the data is input, the passenger number record alone will be record, because other things will be stable, it won't change. When you are typing the input like passenger name, passenger age, passenger gender, passenger address, ultimately if the birth number, whichever is available, that will be allotted to it. So that is considered to be the data entry. Now, while you are entering the data, it will be updated. That is, it is uploaded into the database. Same pattern we have in the banking environment also. Deposit, withdrawal, transfer, etc. Immediately it will be updated. So that is regarding update control. Whereas report means what is the amount in our bank account? What is the birth number allotted to us? Or if it is waiting list, what is the waiting list or RAC? So such kind of reports is given now, that is called as report control. Now, first one, update control, sequence checks between transaction and master file. So we must understand what is master file. So for this, I will take the same example of train number, train name, etc. And the PNR number varies. So the PNR number is the transaction, whereas master file will contain all the information like train number, train name, etc. That won't change. But the transaction, namely passenger names, date of travel, and the gender, age, all these things are considered to be transaction. So that will vary. So which one is first, which one is second? Chronologically, it has to be recorded. Because a person who is trying for a ticket, he enters the data, let's say at 10 a.m. and one person at 10:01 a.m. Now, which one has to be processed first? So that person who has entered the data at 10 a.m. Then only 10:01 a.m. So like that, there should be control. That is sequence check between transaction and the master files. Second thing is ensure all records on the files are processed. You give the data like name, age, gender, then source, destination, etc. Everything has to be processed. So suppose source is processed, destination is not processed now, it is not mentioned now, there is an error. So the transaction has to be, the control will ensure that all are processed. Then process multiple transactions for a single record and in correct order. So for this, we will take up the example of banking transaction. You have, let's assume that you have a bank balance of 1 lakh. Now you are depositing 10,000 rupees. You want to withdraw or transfer, let us say, 1,25,000. Is it possible? It is not possible because we have the balance of 1,10,000 only. But assume a scenario like this, you have deposited 15,000. In this scenario, it has made the entry like this: 1 lakh, then 15,000, the 10,000 is missing, then immediately the transfer of 1,25,000. So it will not be possible. And thereafter, it makes the entry of 10,000 rupees. So you understand, one by one, chronologically, you have to make the entries, otherwise it will be a problem. So that is controlled using update control. The last one is maintain a suspense account. What is maintaining a suspense account? In case of our preparation of trial balance, some accounts may not be tallying. So what we do, we set up something called the suspense account. Now, right time being, we will balance it. After that, we will arrive at the solution. Like that, we will keep it in the suspense account. If something is there in the suspense account, what does it indicate? There is some error in somewhere else in the accounts. Similarly, in database also, they can have suspense account in case any difference is there. But the update control will ensure that there is no suspense account at the time of processing or at the end of the processing. So that is what is update control. Then report control. Second portion is report control. Standing data. So what is standing data? In our example, if it is banking environment, let's say the interest rate is the best example for standing data. It won't change. It won't change. Only when we make the changes, it will. But one person may be having 10,000 rupees of deposit, another person has 10,000, another person has 1 lakh, another person has 50,000. Whatever be the amount, the rate of interest is, let us say, savings bank is 4%. If the loans outstanding, let's say 8% or 10%, depending upon the rates. So that won't change. That is standing data. Then print run to run controls. So process 1, process 2, process 3. From the data obtained from process 1 is applied to process 2, and from data applied from process number 4 is sent as input to process number 3, assume. Then you should have the run to run control. 1 to 2, 2 to 4, and 4 to 3. Like that, it should be. Then print suspense account entries. So same pattern like maintain suspense account here, print suspense account entries. So what are the rectifications we made? All the rectifications should be entered. Then existence or recovery control. What do you mean by existence or recovery control? For this, we have to think about the backup. What do you mean by backup? Making a copy of the data is called as backup. So during any kind of attack or any kind of breach, there is every possibility that the data will be altered. So to overcome this issue, you will always have a backup. So once the entry is made, processing is done, you will take a backup and store it. That is called as existence. Now, in case of any failure, you will be retrieving the data from the backed up copy. So that is called as recovery. And you should have control over backup as well as recovery. When it is backed up, when it is recovered, and how it is recovered, all these things. Now the last one is output control. It's very simple. Storage and logging of sensitive critical forms. So we have seen the example of DD, demand draft form. Here you can take any other kind of critical forms which should be kept in secret or confidential location if it is so confidential. Then the second one is logging of output program executions. So what is this logging of output program executions? In our example, the banking transactions, you deposit money or withdraw money, the transaction is over. Once the transaction is over, the report will be sent to, let us say, the manager's desk. Now that manager's desk, how many number of times or how much of data has been forwarded, that is considered to be the output which has been sent. Now what is logging? So from computer A to the computer of manager, let us say it is computer number 10. So to computer 10, how many number of data has been forwarded, at what time it has been forwarded. So all these things are considered to be logging of output. You should have the control because it should not go to the irrelevant or wrong computers, wrong IP addresses. Then spooling and queuing. Spooling means we imagine a situation like this. For 100 computers, you have one single printer. So if three computers are giving print command simultaneously, what will happen? All the three prints will come from the computer number 1, computer number 10, computer number 15 to the printer. Now, which will be printed first? So there is a dilemma. So that is considered to be pooling and the queuing. So the queue will be maintained. Once the first print is printed, the second print will be supplied and it will be printed. So that is the spooling and the queuing. Otherwise, there will be jam, there will be chaos. And in this scenario, if the manager gives a printout, the priority will be given to the manager. So this is how spooling and queuing is carried out. Then controls over printing. So certain cases, printing will be done in normal printers. Certain documents may be or output may be very important, confidential. So such kind of confidential information cannot be printed in the common printer. So in such scenarios, if it is so confidential, it can be printed from the printer which is kept inside the manager room or a separate room, so that the output cannot be shared with any other person or seen by any other person. Report distribution and collection control. So to whom the printed output has been forwarded or the soft copy has been forwarded and sent. Similarly, collected. So we should have control over this, otherwise there is possibility of leakage. So I had given examples for all these things. Now, validation control alone, we have to see, because I feel this is a little important this time. First one, field interrogation. Actually, what is validation control? Intended to detect errors in the transaction data before the data are processed. If you recollect the discussion we had yesterday, we had seen something called as data diddling. So data diddling means what? Before or during or after the entry of data, there could be any modification. That's called as data diddling error. Now to check that, to overcome this, or to detect errors in the transaction data before the data are processed. So before processing, suppose you are making entry of deposit, before it is getting processed, you must have the control. First one is field interrogation. What is this field interrogation? It involves programmed procedures that examine the characters of the data in the field. So this is what I explained just. Limit check. Against predefined limits. What do you mean by predefined limit? So in our example, SRO number, I hope it is 7 digits. If someone else, some student is typing 8 digits or the phone number, cell phone number, 10 digits. Suppose a person types 11 digit or 12 digit, it indicates what? It is crossing or exceeding the limit. So this is what is referred as limit check. So in our bank example, 10,000 rupees, instead of you are writing as 10,000 rupees, if it is written as 1 lakh, so the entire processing will be wrong. But in banking environment, it is possible. But in our restricted limit input data is warranted, there it cannot be correct. So for example, the mobile number. Second one is picture check. So what is picture check? Against entry into processing of incorrect or invalid characters. Say, for example, invalid character means what? So, let us say you are typing rupees INR, but the transaction is in, let us say, dollar. So, in such a scenario, dollar should be mentioned instead of the INR. If you wrongly type INR, then it should not be processed. So, that is picture checks. Third one is valid and check codes. So again, predetermined transaction codes and tables. If you remember, in the beginning I mentioned, asset means it will start with 3001 or 3002, etc. Liability means 4001, something similar to that. So valid check code should be there. You are typing for debit and you are writing the code for credit. So that should not accept it. So that's what predetermined transaction codes or tables. Second one is record interrogation. So all of us know what is a record. The entire row in a table is considered to be a record. So in record interrogation, reasonableness check whether the value specified in the field is reasonable for this particular field. So in this case also you can take for example, let us say employee code. In employee code, if you are trying to type the basic salary, then that is wrong. So reasonableness check should be there. And valid sign to determine which sign is valid for numeric field, plus, minus, and kind of stuffs. Sequence check to follow record order matching with logical records. This also I explained. So after processing first one, second one has to be entered, something. So sequentially it has to be processed. It has to be checked before getting processed. Third one is file interrogation. So version change, internal and external labeling, data file security, file updating and maintenance authorization. So version usage means the software, what kind of version we are using. So it may be, we have shifted to, let's say, version 6. Suppose you are using version 5, then that is wrong. So file interrogation. Internal and external labeling. What is internal and external labeling? You are having the data stored in a, let's say, video tape or CD, whatever it is. That has to be internally numbered and also externally numbered or labeled. What is internal? Soft copy. What is external? In the hard copy. That's it. Then data file security. Whatever data we are having, the entire file should be properly secured. So the best example is your database is accessible only when you type the username and password. So otherwise you will not be able to enter data or modify data. That is called as data file security. The last one is file updating and maintenance authorization. What is this file updating and maintenance authorization? A data entry operator is allowed to make entries only, and you is not able to, or you will not be permitted to do processing. So entry is made by one person, processing, make a checker only. So the processing control or permission is given to another user. So that is called as updating and maintenance authorization. So these are all some of the examples given for lower limit, upper limit. So this virtual memory alone, let us read it for the better benefit of students. Virtual memory exists when the addressable storage space is larger than the available real memory space. To achieve this outcome, a control mechanism must be in place that maps virtual memory addresses into real memory addresses. Virtual memory means temporarily created memory. So everything neatly explained. We can just go to. So the next portion in chapter 3 is IS auditing. Audit. Information system audit. So what is audit? Independent examination of the financial statement to express opinion. But here it is not the examination of the financial statement as such, examination of the IT environment or information system. We have seen what is information system yesterday, people, process and technology. People, process and technology. Together we call it as information system. So that is being tested, that is called as IS audit. So there are two objectives as we know, testing objectives and management objectives. Testing is asset safeguarding and data integrity. Asset safeguarding means what? You have to ensure that the data, whatever is stored in the database must be intact. Data integrity means while transferring or while processing or while updating it, the integrity has to be maintained. There is no unauthorized modification. The second point is effectiveness and efficiency. So whatever the applications we are using, the computers we are using, the hardware we are using, it must be effective and efficient. Should not consume unnecessarily larger amount of either money or time. So that is efficiency and effectiveness. So there are various aspects like inspection, observation, inquiry, re-performance, recalculation, computation, analytical procedures. All these things are related to audit. So there are working papers like all these things are common to audit assessment, audit plan, audit procedure, questionnaires, interview sheets, etc. Everything is same for IS audit also. Now, asset safeguarding, data integrity, system that we have seen. Right. This is important. Continuous auditing technique. Continuous auditing technique. As well as concurrent audit. Concurrent or continuous means what? It is something like this online audit. That's all. What is online audit? While the processing is being carried out, the auditing is also simultaneously conducted. Normally, how the audit is performed? Only after 31st of March or the end of the month. But in banking environment, we have witnessed the concurrent audit. So day-to-day audit, the same pattern, online transaction, online audit. That's it. That's called as concurrent audit. So it is use embedded modules to collect, process, and to print the audit evidences. What do you mean by embedded module? Along with the application software, the auditing module is also attached. Say, for example, the ERP we have discussed, various modules we have seen, production module, purchase module, sales module, HR module, etc. Along with that, the audit module will also be integrated together so that it does auditing once the processing is being carried out. So special audit records to store and audit evidence. So what do you mean by special audit records? Suppose if the software we have installed in the system, in the entity system, it observes something odd or abnormal, it will forward the data to a separate folder, which is exclusively available for the auditor to inspect it. So later he will go and inspect the. So there are 5 kinds of auditing tools. We must understand what is tool. It's very simple thing. Tool means what? A device which is used for carrying out a task. Simple example, you want to check whether there is power supply in a wire or in a switch or not. So we are connecting the computer to the power point. Suppose the computer power supply is not there, we are going to check whether power supply is there or not. How will we do? Do we insert our fingers into the plug holes and check? No, that's not advisable. So we will use something called as tester. So here tester is the tool. It is meant for a specific purpose. So drive, screwdriver, cutting plier, spanner, like that various tools we are using for specific purposes. Same way, we are having softwares, application software, operating system software. Similar to that, we are developing the auditing software also. That is considered to be the auditing tools. So for audit software, we are developing different kinds of tools. We may use one or other. First one is snapshot. So what is snapshot? It is very simple. You are taking the photograph. All of that. So while a processing is being carried out, the snapshot tool will keep on taking the photographs. If something odd or fishy is there, it can be inspected further for further analysis. Second one is ITF. What is ITF? Integrated Test Facility. So you have a, let us say, entity installed with the software. Let us say this is an ERP. Now, along with this ERP, you have your own software. What software? Auditing software. Now, this auditing software will be combined with this in such a manner that the data what you are giving as an input for testing in your auditing software, this is auditing software, okay? Auditing software will get updated in the database of the entity of the company. So you go and verify whether the amount is processed appropriately. You have the manual total. Similarly, you go to the machine total or computer total. If it is found to be correct, then you can ensure that the processing carried out by this portion of the software is also found to be correct. So this is the concept of integrated test facility. So you are integrating your software along with the software of the entity. Third one is SCAR file. System control audit review file. So the name is very simple to remember. System control. System has to be controlled. You are going to do what? Audit. So what you are doing in audit? Reviewing the files. That's all. You remember like this. System control audit review file SCAR. Now what has happened here? You have a separate folder which is exclusively created for the auditor. Now, any odd transaction will be forwarded to that particular folder, that particular file automatically by the system. And at the end of the particular time or particular date, the auditor will go and inspect the data which is available inside the folder or the file. And if anything is found to be fishy, you'll do further inspection. Otherwise, it will be just deleted. The next one is continuous intermittent simulation, CAS. So it is also similar to the snapshot. It keeps on taking the photographs of the transactions. Whatever is needed or found to be fishy, the auditor will give thrust to that. Otherwise, you will just leave it. The last one is audit hooks. What is audit hook? Normally, I give an example like this. Hook means you are holding and picking it up. So I hope all of you know crane, CRANE. Crane is a bird which is available in the paddy fields. And it will be waiting on the bank of the river or bank of the streams. And it will keep a watch over the fish to arrive. So it keeps continuous watch, continuously, no attention diversion. Focusedly, it will be watching. So once the fish arrives, it will notice and immediately it will act and pick that fish out. That's called as fishing. So it will fish and simply you fly so that the fish can be used as a prey for it and its friends or neighbors or children. So that is a crane fishing. Similarly, when the transaction is being carried out, this software will keep on watch over it. If anything found fishy, suddenly it will be picked up and forwarded to the auditor's desk. So this is considered to be audit hook. So always remember this word: authenticity, accuracy, and completeness, CAA. In every software audit tools, in every audit software tools, we must use this word: authenticity, accuracy, and completeness. Of what? Of the assets processing. So whether the processing is authenticated, accurate, and complete. The data is also safeguarded. Locate the snapshot point based on materiality concept. Okay, this you just go through that. I explain all this concept. This is an example of a snapshot. Now ITF, as I said, dummy entity will be there. So you just see this picture, computer operation on the left hand side I had mentioned. So computer operations. Here, auditors. Okay. Now, actual transaction, computer application system reports with only actual data. So here, ITF transaction, ITF data reports with ITF data, but both are carried out where? In the computer application system. This is the important part. So now the auditor prepares ITF transaction and sends it to the computer program. Once it is processed, manually processed data is available with the auditor, and he compares the data with the processed data, that is report which is prepared by the entity. So this is the computer application system. Now the data will be verified, and if it is found to be correct, then the software is working fine. Otherwise, it needs some rectification. So SCAR file. So this is an example for SCAR file. So we have SCAR master file here. Here also master file. SCAR 1, 2, 3. So the application 1 supplies to SCAR 1, 2 to SCAR 3, 3 SCAR 3. Everything is again supplied to SCAR master file. We'll be able to verify any data which are all found to be fishy in nature. CAS, continuous intermittent simulation. Simulation means as if it is real, you are just verifying. So here, the mainframe computer, which is carrying out the application, data, and storage. So the transaction, which is given to the database management system, that is DBMS, it is a software. And once it is processed, it will be forwarded. What does this CS do? It will keep on keep on watch over this transaction continuously. If something is wrong or odd, immediately it will be forwarded to the exception log. So the auditor will check this and he will do the inspection later with the data available in the database. Audit hook, as we have seen, it will the system of audit hook to tag records with the name and the address change. Then they will investigate these tagged records for detecting fraud. This approach is real-time notification. Displays a message on the auditor's terminal. So whatever we had seen, the same thing is here. Now we'll move on to audit trail. It's very simple process. Audit trail is nothing but logs that can be designed to record activity at the system, application, and the user level. It's a detective control. So it's a MCQ audit trail, detective control to help accomplish security policy objectives. We must know what is security policy. Security policy is nothing but CAA. What is CAA? Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So all the three are considered to be the security aspects. We already seen that, but confidentiality means no one other than the authorized person can see. Integrity means no one other than the authorized person can modify. Availability means it is available to authorized person 24/7. That is CAA. It has to be ensured. Okay. Now, audit trails are logs that can be designed to record activity at the system, application, and user level. Please understand these words. You'll be able to easily understand this. What is a system? A log is kept in the system. Who has logged in? Who is doing what process? Who is going out? Our time consumed by the user inside the computer, like that. All these things are recorded inside the computer system. That's called the system logs. Application log. What is application log? The best example is your ERP. You are accessing ERP or you are accessing Tally software. Now, Tally software, it may contain various number of users. So which user logged in to this application, what time, how long you stayed there, and what are the activities performed. All these things are recorded in the log. Which log? Application log. Then user level, so it is done by the operating system. It is carried out by the operating system. Which user, what time, what activity, all these things. Now, what for all these things are needed? See, it is just for, see, for example, you are using a CCTV camera. Now, CCTV camera, some offense is committed. Say, for example, a thief came into our house and stolen some valuable things. Now, you want to inspect who would be the culprit, whether the servant maid or any visitor or any delivery boy. There are so many delivery boys nowadays visiting our house. So, who would have taken this or would have stolen this? You want to verify. How will you verify this? You go and inspect the data which is recorded or the photos, a video which is recorded in the CCTV camera. So, video clippings, you are just. So, what are the things you are going to inspect? Number one. So, from suppose the let's say assume the occurrence is there on today. It is 10th October between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. So you will see all the records from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Number one, you will go and verify the visitors register. Let us say it is an apartment. In the apartment, the entry gate. So you will just check up. So the entries are made C1, C2, C3, C4, the apartment block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4. Accordingly, the visitors register they will identify. That's the first thing. Then application. He is entering into our house. So he just knocks the door or presses the buzzer, something like that. And you open. So how many times the door were opened for residents, for aliens, or for outsiders, or for servant maids, like that, that can be detected. And the last one is user level. After entering into the house, what are all the things that has happened? So we have the access to the particular safe vault to our own family members. But if someone else is trying to enter into that space or that area, then he can very well assess that he is the culprit. So that is what is considered to be audit trail, verifying or creating records using the existing log files. Many operating systems allow management to select which events will be recorded in the log, capture all significant events. Audit trail controls attempt to ensure that a chronological record of all events that have occurred in the system is maintained. The record is needed to answer queries, fulfill statutory requirements, detect consequences of error, and allow system monitoring, tuning. So safeguard assets, data integrity, achieve objectives effectively and efficiently for the auditing purposes. Audit trail shows the source and nature of data and process that update the database, whereas operations audit trail maintains a record of attempted or actual resource consumption within the system. There are two kinds of audit trail, namely accounting audit trail and operations audit trail. Accounting audit trail shows the source and nature of data and processes that update the database. Source and nature of data and processes that update the database. Whereas operations audit trail maintains a record of attempted or actual resource consumption. Operations means resource consumption. Simple. Accounting means entering into. Operations means processing. That's all. Very simple to understand. So this is important. What are all the objectives of trail objectives? Audit trail objectives. Kindly mark this as important question. Detecting unauthorized access to the system, facilitating the reconstruction of events, and promoting personal accountability. So I had given an example of a grocery shop. A person steals the salt from the gunny bag and taken into his house. How it can be traced? You suppose, sorry, while he is stealing the salt, let us assume that he is carrying the entire gunny bag. He uses a hook. So through the hook, the salt will be, oozed out through the path wherever he is crossing. So using that CPHs, we'll be able to follow the track and we can detect what is the destination of that gunny bag. So the example given for audit trail. So first point is detecting unauthorized access. Second one is reconstruction of event. Third one is personal accountability. You see this one by one. Detecting unauthorized access can occur in real time or after the fact. The objective of real-time detection is to protect the system from outsiders who are attempting to breach the system. So this will be seen from the system log file. A real-time audit trail can be used to report on changes in system performance that may indicate insertion by a virus or a worm. So once the system is affected with virus, worm, the system will automatically get slowed down. So it can be detected. That is detecting unauthorized access. Then, depending upon how much activity is being logged and reviewed, real-time detection can impose a significant overhead on the operating system, which can degrade the operational performance. So we'll be able to detect from the log files whatever effect that has been made on the computer system because of the worm or virus which has affected our computer system. After the fact, detection logs can be stored electronically and reviewed periodically or as needed. So who are all coming into our system, which are all the applications which are accessing the system, everything will be logged electronically and that can be stored separately. Why in future also it can be used for reference purposes. When properly designed, they can be used to determine if unauthorized access was accomplished or attempted and failed. So what is accomplished? They were able to intrude into the system. That is accomplished. Attempted and failed. So they tried with different kinds of username, password, and other kind of attempts, but they were not successful. That is considered to be unsuccessful attempt, a failed attempt. So to detect unauthorized access, audit trail is being used. Reconstruction of events. What is that? Reconstruct steps that led to events such as system failures, security violation, application processing errors. What is system failure? Suddenly the system switched off. So how does it got switched off? We do not know. So you go back to the log files, will be able to reconstruct the steps because of what the switching off occurred. So second one is security violations by individuals. What is security violation? Bypassing the security rules, typing the administrator password from the normal computer system. All these things are considered to be violations. It can be recorded and reconstructed. Then application processing errors. While doing the process, sometimes there could be errors. Now, where it was committed, see, for example, you have 5 processes, out of which process the error was committed, we do not know. So how it can be detected? By going through the recorded events. So for reconstruct the event related to application processing errors can be carried out by the audit trail. The knowledge of the conditions that existed at the time of the system can be used to assign responsibility and to avoid similar situation in the future. So if at all something has happened like system failure or security violation or application processing errors, then in the future it can be, fix the responsibility as well as to avoid the same kind of situation in the future. So, third one, audit trail analysis plays an important role on accounting control. For example, maintaining records of all changes to account balances. The audit trail can be used to reconstruct accounting data files that are corrupted by a system failure. Say, for example, up to 9th, everything is okay. 10th, there is a corruption. Corruption means some failure in the system, a database or whatever it is. You will be able to check up to what the system was correctly processed, and thereafter you can make the new entries. Last one, personal accountability. The audit trails can be used to monitor the activity at the lowest level of detail. Its main, if it is used as a preventive control, MCQ, audit trail is a preventive control. Individuals are likely to violate the securities policy if they know that their actions are not recorded in an audit log. So CCTV camera இல்லைன்னு சொன்னா திருடன் ஈஸியா வருவான். ஈவன் வீட்டில் உள்ள திருடனே கூட ஆமா வீட்டுக்கு வர திருடனே கூட திருவான். So individuals can easily access a house if he knows the CCTV camera is not installed in the house. So similarly, if the audit trail is not recorded, audit logs is not recorded, or system log is not recorded, or application log is not recorded in the computer system or information system, there is every possibility that the hackers could, or the internal or external hackers could violate the rules and commit some kind of offenses. So audit trail just prevents it. So mark this as important. Now, the things related to audit of physical control, audit of logical control, audit of database control, all these things, you just go through that. There is no big deal because we have already seen everything in the control. Whatever control we have seen, you are checking as auditor whether it is functioning. That is called as auditing control. So here if you see auditing logical access control, you have to check whether it is working fine or not. Network access path, documentation, user access control, user access logs, investigative procedure, internet points of presence. All these things are very simple. You can just go through that and understand it. The SOD is little important. Segregation of duties. So segregation of duties means what? One person making, one person checking. So transaction authorization, split custody of high values, workflow and periodic reviews. What is transaction authorization? Somebody will be doing the authorization. In bank example, let us say a DD is prepared. Up to 50,000, the clerk can issue. Beyond 50,000, the manager has to approve. So that is make a checker concept. So transaction authorization. If information system can be programmed or configured to record two or more person to approve certain transaction, then that is considered to be transaction authorization. Split custody of high value assets. So simple example I will give, you can understand easily. You go to the bank, keep your valuables like jewels in the safe vault. Now you are given with one key and another key is kept with the manager. So both of you should join together and open the safe vault. Otherwise, you cannot open. So that is called as split custody of high value asset. So assets of high importance or value can be protected using various means of split custody. So here they have given example, the password to an encryption key reflects high valued assets that can be split into two halves, one half assigned to 2% and other half assigned to 2%, so that no single individuals knows the entire password. So let us say the password is John Kennedy. So user A is provided with the password John and user B is provided with the password Kennedy. Both has to come together, sit together, type together, then only the password will work. That's very simple. Then workflow. What is workflow? Use a second or third level approval before certain high value or high sensitive activities that can take place. So if you are going to transfer more than 2 lakhs, then we have gone to empty. Yeah. LTGS, but then it's not coming. NEFT and RTGS, correct. So NEFT is for normal transaction, RTGS is for more than 2 lakhs. So it needs proper approval. So like that, you can have double extra care. So for example, workflow application that is used to provision user accounts. Provision user accounts means creating user account. Can include extra management approval steps in request for administrative privileges, read, write, execute permissions. Then last one, periodic reviews. Periodically review the user's access rights to identify whether any segregation of duties exists or not. Access privileges for each worker can be compared and against the segregation of duties. Control matrix, that is user A, what control, user B, what control, user C, what control, like that. It has to be verified. And if it is found to be correct, then that can be accessed, otherwise not. So we have completed chapter number 3. So unfortunately, I have prepared slides for chapter number 3 only. While I was preparing slides for chapter 4 and other kind of stuff, the syllabus got changed. Therefore, I do not have the slides. So directly we'll go to the study material. And students, I strongly advise all of you, please concentrate only on study material. And the time is very, very limited. So I give one best advice. Simply go through the suggested answers for 5 years at least, 5 years. Definitely you'll get more than 65% of the questions. 65% of the questions will be lifted directly from the suggested answers and the RTP of the relevant years. So please go through that. You will have good confidence. Now you have understood the concepts. So after going through the suggested answers, you will get more confidence. So chapter 4 is e-commerce and m-commerce. Electronic commerce. It is very simple and it is self-explainable. You'll be able to read it quickly and understand it quickly. You would have be well aware of those concepts. So there's no big deal. In this, you have to just concentrate on the benefits as well as the drawbacks of e-commerce or m-commerce. And similarly, in m-commerce, a question will be there on the contents of mobile commerce, like software, hardware, communication, etc. So the components, architecture, process flow diagrams, risk and control, laws and guidelines. Give little importance to this risk and control. Different kinds of risk and different kinds of controls are there. They are all self-explainable. There is no big technical things here. Whereas emerging technologies are new to all of us, and the virtualization, grid computing, cloud computing, mobile computing, green IT, BYOD, Web 3.0, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, blockchain. Out of this, definitely one question will be lifted. One or two, sometimes two questions can be lifted. I had witnessed two questions also taken from this single topic. So we'll spend time on this initially, and then if time permits, we will go on to the the prior item. So directly, I'm going to virtualization. So kindly go through this IT Act also. It is also important. Yeah. So before going to virtualization, let us see the IT Act also. This is also a little important. IT Act, all of you know, 2008 modified. A few times objectives were asked as questions. So there are 10 objectives. We can simply go through these. I'll quickly run through that. First one is to grant legal recognition for transactions carried out by means of electronic data interchange or electronic commerce in place of paper-based method of communication. So normally, if you want to transfer funds, we were using checks or sometimes withdrawal slips for withdrawing money from the banks. But now what we are doing is simply we are transferring the amount using the transfer options available. Now, instead of check, we are using the electronic check. So this electronic check, who recognizes? Normal check recognized by the Act, Banking Regulation Act, RBI Act. Similarly, electronic transactions are reported only using the computers, inside the computers, servers, internet. All over the world, the internet is working, but we do not know which computer, where it is situated, and how the transactions are processed. So in such a scenario, they developed the concept of Act related to regulating the electronic transactions. So the first one is give legal recognition for transaction. Transfer is recognized. Withdrawal using ATM is recognized like that. Second one, give legal recognition to digital signature for authentication purposes. First one is for what? For transaction, legal recognition for transaction. Second one is for what? Legal recognition to digital signature. So once signature, you remember this word authentication automatically. What is authentication? It's very big. So now I'm just affixing signature means it indicates what I approve it, I accept it. See, for example, the very easiest example is leave letter. So in the leave letter, I have to sign. Otherwise, it is not written by me. I can similarly invoice. So a person who prepares invoice, receipt, payment, lots of vouchers we have seen. Authentication is done by signature. But now all of us are very familiar with electronic signature, filing of returns, filing of audit reports, tax audit reports. Everywhere we are using the digital signature. Third one is to facilitate electronic filing of documents with government. So first one is legal recognition of transaction. Second one is digital signature. Third one is e-filing. Fourth one is storage of data, electronic storage of data. Previously, I hope you would not have seen that environment. You go to the bank, they use bigger bound volume of ledgers. So it is not, just like an ordinary thing. The bound book consisting of cardboard as the cover page, cardboard. So just imagine how many number of pages will be there inside. In that only our account balances will be maintained. So they will manually write. You cannot imagine that scenario. So they will take up the ledger, write it down, add it to using a calculator or something, and update it, and then only your balance will be updated. But now what's happening? You are not at all doing anything. Simply enter the data. That's it. It's immediately processed. So where it is stored, we do not know. So that can be stored only in the recognized, authorized, digitally certified storage area. So the server is having a digital signature DSC, digital signature certificate, which is issued by the certifying authorities, and there only it is stored. So they have given recognition for electronic storage. Then fourth one, legal sanction to transfer fund electronically, EFT, electronic funds transfer. And fifth one, legal sanction for keeping books of account in electronic form by bankers. This is the banker. Here, electronic storage of data, just here format by bankers, electronic format by bankers. Then to amend IPC, IEA, and Bankers Evidence Act as well as RBI Act, Indian Penal Code, Indian Evidence Act, Bankers Book Evidence Act. Then provide legal infrastructure to promote e-commerce and secure information system. Infrastructure here means hardware, software, and other kind of stuff. To manage cyber crimes at a national and international levels by enforcing law. Lots of cyber offenses occurred. There are lots of cyber offenses are being committed from India and outside India in Indian computers, and that has to be punished or penalized. This act governs all internet activities in India and is applicable to all online transactions in India and provides for penalties, prosecution, and non-compliances. So these are all the 10 points for which the act was coming into existence. So just go through that. Okay, digital payments, all of you are very familiar. Credit card, debit card, smart card. Smart card means it contains more information. That's it. Internet banking, UPI apps. Everyone is nowadays using UPI, Unified Payment Interface. So you know how it is being operated. IMPS, mobile apps. Sometimes they will ask a question from these electronic payments, but that's also Aadhaar enabled, UADS, cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency we have to see. Cryptocurrency is another electronic payment method that is steadily growing in popularity. It's an digital currency produced by public network rather than any government that uses cryptography to ensure that payments are sent and received safely. So we must understand what is cryptocurrency. Here also it is mentioned cryptography is so called because all the data is ensured with strong cryptography. So there is no possibility of counterfeit or double spend. This word is important. Cryptocurrency is completely decentralized, which means that there are no servers involved and no central controlling authority. Normally, in client-server architecture, we have one client and one server. The server will be managing the entire clients which are connected to the server computer. But in cryptocurrency, there is no such mechanism. There is no centralized server. All are having equal power. That means both it is acting as a server as well as a client. So when it is supplying, it becomes a server. When it is receiving, it becomes a client. That's all. So to understand what is cryptography, yesterday we discussed something like Apple. So Apple was converted into 1, 16, 16, then 5, L 14, 14, and E is 5. So 1, 16, 16, 14, 5. That is a simple example of encryption. But multiple times of multiple operations carried out on single word, and that is converted into encrypted word. So normally no one can crack it because what are the algorithms that were adopted, nobody knows, only the software knows. So that is a kind of encryption. Now, if you store it in State Bank of India, you will go and verify what is the balance. And it is available very well in the server of State Bank of India. Whereas in cryptocurrency, it is not at all possible to know where it is residing, how it is using blockchain concept, and all the data are stored in all the computers invariably, and you do not know where from it originates and where it ends. So, since it is encrypted, node can easily crack it. But in India, it is not recognized so far. URP. Then advantages of digital payment, kindly make a scroll of it. But you should be able to give at least the headings. So say for example, advantages of digital payment. You know many things, but you should not write it as a story. How you have to write, how it is mentioned in your study material, you should be able to reproduce it. You understand it, but kindly memorize that and reproduce at least the subheadings so that the evaluator will see the subheading. And once you have given good answers in the beginning, they will get the impression that this person, this student has studied and presented the answer. So once he is satisfied with that, the remaining questions, if you are giving the subheading correctly, normally you'll get good marks. So please follow that principle always. So in these digital payments, the advantages, first one is easy and convenient, pay or send money from anywhere, discount from taxes, return record, less risk, then competitive advantages of business, environment friendly. Similarly, the defaults are the demerits, or the drawbacks are difficult for non-technical person. So he does not have the knowledge. Risk of data theft, anyone can steal it. Overspending, of course. Disputed transaction, there are a lot of issues are nowadays rising. Increased business cost as well as necessity of the internet access. Now, computing technology, virtualization. So we have seen what is virtualization. Just virtualization means to create a virtual version of a device or a resource such as server, storage, network, or even an operating system where the framework divides the resource into one or more execution environment. So what does it mean? So let us take an example of this one. The screen which is on the top is slightly making it not use it. Okay. So, right. Now you have this as a hard disk. So normally on this hard disk, a software will be installed, namely operating system. How many operating system can be installed in a computer? Normally one operating system. So you will have an operating system installed in your computer, namely, let us say Windows operating system. Now, after installation of the operating system, you will install the application software. So you will install, let us say, a Tally, another application software. Now you want to make this computer to work as two computers. Is it possible? Not possible. See, Windows operating system, you can use Microsoft Access, Microsoft Tally, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, etc. simultaneously. By minimizing one and maximizing one, you will be able to work simultaneously. But in a single computer, you will not be able to operate from two operating systems simultaneously as we are doing in Word and PowerPoint, etc. But we want to do that. We want to make a device into two computers and which can be used simultaneously. For this, they are doing something called as virtualization. So what is this virtualization? So we have the hard disk here. This hard disk is normally divided into two using something called as virtualization software, VMware. So VMware. For your understanding, I'm drawing it with disability. So this is VMware, virtual machine ware. Hardware, software like that, virtual machine ware. After installing this, our computer will become, or it can be segregated into two or three. So this is one portion. Sorry. This is one portion. 2 and 3. So after dividing this into 2 or 3, you can just install, let's say, Windows here. Then Linux here. Then Nopix here. It is also a software, Windows operating, something like that. Operating Nopix. So within one computer, we are able to have 3 softwares. Similarly, we can have same kind of application software also. Here, an application software. Here, few application software. And also here, some application. So likewise, the machine can be divided into 2 or 3 according to our requirement by installing a software called as VMware. And similarly, many things are there. Same pattern we can divide the application software also, network as well as storage also. Now all these things are virtually done to use it efficiently. Now you read it, virtualization means to create virtual version of a device or a resource such as server, storage, device, network, or even an operating system as a framework divides the resource into one or more execution environments. So first one is concept of virtualization. The core concept of virtualization lies in partitioning, which divides a single physical server into multiple logical servers. Now, application areas of virtualization. This is also important. This has been asked 2 times in the previous exams. First one is server consolidation. Using the concept of virtualware, we will be able to consolidate server. What do you mean by consolidate server? Assume you are having a server here, one server. Then you have another server here, which is located somewhere else. And another server is here. Now, you will be able to consolidate all the 3 into single consolidated server. Second one is disaster recovery. What do you mean by disaster recovery? During the time of disaster recovery, hot standby environments for physical production servers. This changes classical backup and restore philosophy by providing backup images that can boot into live virtual machines capable of taking the overload for a production server experiencing an outage. What does it indicate? You have the server here, you have another server located somewhere here, but both are somehow interconnected. Both are somehow interconnected. Now, there is an outage occurrence in these computers. This will trigger a message to this computer so that this machine will start or boot automatically once the machine fits. So this is disaster recovery. Third one is testing and training. What do you mean by testing and training? For testing purposes and training purposes, you need various computers simultaneously. So this simultaneous computers cannot be obtained. Say for example, you want to have 100 computers for a testing purpose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that, 100 computers are needed. So it is normally not possible to purchase 100 computers for testing purposes. So what they do, they have, let's say this is a computer. This will be partitioned into 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that, 100, and it will be tested either simultaneously or individually. So that is testing and training. Then portable applications. What is portable? Just like that, you can carry the devices because of this VMware facility. Similarly, portable workspaces. So what is portable workspaces? It is just like an offline workspace that can be moved across multiple computers without requiring repeated installation, customization, and a data setup. So because of this VMware concept, you'll be able to spread across the workspace in all the computers which are available in a network. Then types of virtualization. We will complete this within 5 minutes. So hardware virtualization. What is hardware virtualization? What I have demonstrated is hardware virtualization. Now you have a computer which is having, let us say, 5 terabyte of capacity. Now that can be divided into 2, 2, and 1. So this is hardware virtualization. This will act as one computer, this will act as one computer, this will act as one computer, hardware virtualization. Then network virtualization. What is this network virtualization? You have a network here. Let us say this is LAN A, wherein you have three floors, first floor, second floor, third floor. You have computers. Let us say in each floor you have 10 computers. Therefore, 30 computers are here. 30 computers are here. Similarly, you have another LAN, so which is also having 3 floors, which is also having, let us say, 300 computers. And now, totally how much? 600 computers. Now, this is LAN A. Let's assume that this may have IP address of 10.0.0.0. Okay. That means it starts from 10.0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, etc. At the same time, this is also having the IP address, a different IP address. Let's say 90.0.0.0. So it indicates what all the computers will start from 90.0. Is a separate network. This is a separate network. 10 network is separate. 90 network is separate. Now, for administrative purposes, if you want to consolidate it, that is also possible. So you can bring it into a single network of either 90.0 or 10.0. That's possible. Otherwise, if you want to split this network into, let us say, 2 or 3. Similarly, you want to segregate this into 2 or 3. That is also possible. Same 90 network that be converted. So these computers, let us say, or a 100 computers here, that can be used as, let's say, 91 network. Similarly, this is 92 network. This is 93 network. Though it is in single area, single premises, it can be subdivided into 3 for administrative purposes. So this can be administered by one administrator, and this can be administered by one administrator, another administrator, another administrator. Similarly, here also 1, 2, 3. Or else you can consolidate everything. Instead of 6 administrators, you can have one single administrator and manage that also. Both are possible in network virtualization. Storage virtualization, we have already seen that. So we'll have a small break of 10 minutes and we'll move on to grid computing after the break. Thank you. Right. Let us resume the session. So grid computing. So grid computing, to explain it, let me give an example. Electricity grid. You would have heard about electricity grid. What is electricity grid? You have a grid here. Okay. You have a grid here. So this electronic grid will receive power supply or which is generated from electricity supply, which are generated from. So there are so many energies like wind, then hydro, then thermal, then tidal, then bio, then atomic, like that. Various power generating methodologies are used, and all the electricity are brought into single unit called as grid. So this grid receives the power supply from various power generated area and redistribute it to various transformers. And from the transformers, it is supplied to various units like houses, factories, and other kind of things. So this is grid of electricity or grid electricity grid. Same pattern, you have the electronic grid, that is computer grid. So what is this computer grid? It's a computer network in which each computer's resources are shared with every other computer in a system. So what do you mean by this? Suppose you are having 100 computers in a network. You have 100 computers. 1, 2, 3, like that. 100 computers are there. Now all the 100 computers will not be operating simultaneously. So you have a grid server. Now a task is assigned to this grid server. Once it is assigned to the grid server, this will be distributed to computer A, computer 2, computer 3, computer 4, computer 5, and computer 6, like that. All will carry out the task and it is supplied to this so that the task is completed. Now, in this scenario, if a computer takes 100 minutes to complete a task, 100 minutes to complete a task. Now, once the task is distributed to all the 100 computers, it can be accomplished within 1 minute. 1 minute. So this is a drastic reduction in the time and it improves the efficiency. So grid computing is a computer network in which each computer's resources are shared with every other computer in the system. It is distributed architecture of large number of computers connected to solve a complex problem. In the grid computing model, servers or personal computers run independent tasks and are loosely linked by the internet or lower speed network. So this is an example given. Control server, grid nodes, task is given, it is shared and accomplished quickly. Now, benefits of grid computing. First benefit is making use of underutilized resources. What does this refers to? See, in the office environment, there are 10 employees employed. Let us say they are assigned with some task, task A, task B, or departments like purchase department, sales department, accounting department. Even in accounting department, bills receivable, bills payable, banking, like that, various tasks will be assigned to them. But one person will be working continuously, the other person will be keeping idle all the time, and 1 hour or 1.5 hours he will be performing his work. Now, in this scenario, what happens? There is a mismatch. Therefore, the underutilized staff will be assigned with the work from the overburdened staff. So, this is making underutilized use of underutilized resources. Resource balancing. This is also similar to that. The work is balanced. It will be transferred to the other person who is having lesser work, or it is transferred to the other computer which is having lesser work. Then parallel CPU capacity. So simultaneously you are able to perform the task so that the work can be completed quickly. virtual resources and virtual organizations for collaboration. Virtual resources can be created, like one computer can be divided into 100, 100 can be divided in, consolidated into one, and similar kind of things can be done for the purpose of organization. Virtual organization means you can create organization itself over the computers virtually and collaborate it. Access to additional resources, naturally. So you can have access to the uh, uh, additional resources because of your virtualization concept. The computer, let's say one computer, if it is works for 10 minutes, the output is lesser. The same computer, if it is subdivided into, let us say 10 computers, then automatically it can function as 10 computers, and within 1 minute, the task can be completed. Thereby, the access to additional resources is also possible. Reliability, why? In case of failure of one computer, the other 99 computers will perform the task and somehow it will be completed. So reliability is more. Better management, you'll be able to know how many computers are located in your uh, network, that is a grid network, and you'll be able to manage what are the systems which are on the works that are performing. Then second one is types of resources. So grid is collection of machines, sometimes refers to as nodes, resources, members, donors, clients, host, and any other such terms. So I repeat, node, resources, members. Members means persons. Donors. Donors means one who is granting. Clients, one who is receiving. And host, the centralized person. So the first point here is computation. Computation is nothing but performance or processing. So they are using memory, storage, and network connectivity. To run existing application, to run an application designed to split work, to run an application that has to be executed many times. So that is related to computation. Storage, so data grid, the data can be stored in the storage computers. Communication, it can be transmitted from one computer to another computer. Software and license, one software can be used for deployment in many computers. Thereby, the cost can be reduced. Special equipment capacities in architectures as well as policies. See, the grid network will have different architectures, different operating system, different devices, different capacities, and different equipment. But still, all can work for the performance of the task. Now, application areas of computing, there is no big deal. Security, this is also important. Grid computing, security. So, first point is security means related to CAA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. First one point is secured single sign-on. What do you mean by single sign-on? First of all, we have to understand that. So you have a computer here. Now, as a user, you are trying to log in. So you log in with your username and password. So first username and password. Username and password. You are logging in. You are able to access all the resources in your computer. Now, it is single sign-on. Then what is multiple sign-on? See, after entering into the computer is open. Now you have an application, let's say a Tally, or you have another application, an ERP. Now in this scenario, if you want to access this Tally, for this Tally, you have to use separate password. Similarly, for this ERP, separate password. Now it cannot be opened by a single username password of system username and system password. This is a separate application username, application password. Now, in this scenario, it is multiple sign-on. Now, with this background, we'll just go through this single sign-on concept. Most of the distributed computing system use identity-based username and password authentication and authorization control for accessing computing system. To access resources from different administrative domains having different security mechanism, the user needs to authenticate him or her to different domains. Different domain means different area. This is very irritating and time-consuming process. To resolve this issue, mechanism should be developed or established in which user authenticates once only. User authenticates once only. Example, at the point of starting a computation, and then are able to acquire resources, use them, release them, and communicate internally without any further authentication. So there is a grid computing security features. It may be advantages, it may be disadvantages also. Second thing is resource management. So a centralized person can assign the task to other computers. So resources can be utilized efficiently. Data management. So data, whatever has been given or distributed to the different computers, that can be managed easily. Management and protection of credentials. What is credentials? The username and password. So the credential management and protection of users' names, like passwords and username, are big issues in non-grid computing. Why? Why? Different users will be using different username password. It's a cumbersome process. Interoperability with local security solution. Interoperability means, let's say the 100 computers are having different operating system, different applications. So that's considered to be interoperability. One may not work with other, but interoperability means it will definitely work with other. So that is an issue here, interdomain access. Then standardization. A highly integrated system involves multi-purpose protocol and interfaces to resolve the issues explained about that. Standardizing these protocols and interfaces is a big issue in grid. So standardizing these protocols means what? Different protocols are used in 100 computers. So bringing it together and working on it is little difficult. Exportability. So it cannot use large amount of encryption at a time. What do you mean by large amount of encryption at a time? You have given a task. It is distributed to 100 computers. While it is distributed and while it is received back, it will be encrypted. So large amount of data has to be encrypted, and exporting this to the centralized server is little tough job. Support for secure group communication. In a communication, there are number of processes which coordinate their activities. This coordination must be secure, and for this, there is no such security policy. Security policies lacking in grid computing because many computers use with many different parameters. Support for multiple implementation. There should be security policy which should provide security to multiple sources based on public and private key cryptography. So we have already seen what is private key and public key encryption. Same thing is used here. The next concept is cloud computing. So we must understand what is cloud. So cloud means you simply see on the sky cloud that gives rain. Okay, cloud. Now here, do we know which drop is coming from which portion of the cloud? No, no one knows. So there are many drops which are coming. We do not know from which part of the cloud it is coming. Similarly, in cloud computing environment, there are so many computers which are there in the internet area. Now, all the computers taken together, it performs various tasks, it provides various services to various users. Now, the users cannot know where from we are availing services. Moreover, it is readily available. See, the best example for cloud computing is internet. So you are using the internet for accessing various information which are available in the servers, The email is another example. Email server is loaded with the electronic mail concepts and functionalities, which is located, let's say, in UK or USA. But we are able to access the email server from here using remote login. So jjkennedy144@hotmail.com, jjkennedy144@gmail.com. I am logging into the server which is located in USA and operating, and then I am logging out. So now do I maintain any of the server related machines here in my entity? No, not at all. Who is maintaining the Google or Yahoo or Hotmail? The management of the Hotmail is managing that or maintaining that. I do not maintain it. I do not know what is happening inside the computer, but still I'm able to use the services. Another example, the call taxi. If you want to use Audi car, if you want to purchase Audi car, it involves huge amount of cost, and that is also no use. Once the Audi car is used for a particular purpose, let's say for marriage, that bridal ride, etc. You want to use the Audi car. For that purpose alone, if you purchase Audi car, it is a unwanted investment. So in such a scenario, what you do? Simply go for a call taxi, just hire Audi car or whatever car which is available, and you are using it. So once you use it, you will pay for that, and you do not maintain it, you do not secure it, you do not take care of it, but still you are able to use it because someone else is providing you the services. That's the concept of cloud. Another example is electricity meter or electricity supply. We do not know where from the electricity is supplied, but we receive it based on the meter reading. We are making the payment and we are enjoying the power supply. Now, with this background, we just see the cloud refers to applications, services, and data storage on the internet. Very simple definition. It refers to applications, services, and data storage. So, when you want to develop or when you want to develop a software, you want to develop a software, you must have a hardware. Okay, that is a computer infrastructure. On this infrastructure, on this hardware, you are going to load something called as software. And after installing the software, you are providing input and you are taking the output and you are storing it in a database. Now, all the three are needed. So these three are considered to be these three items taken together, namely the database as well as the software and also the hardware. So this is hardware, this is software, and this is database. Now, all the three are important for any information system to function, information system to exist. Now, this hardware alone, if it is supplied, then it is called as IAAS. It is infrastructure as a service. Now, for developing a software, you need to have a platform. So, what is platform? Suppose if you want to prepare puri, a chapati, or paratha, you have to prepare the flour. So that flour is washed on the platform, a table-like arrangement or something like that. On that only you have to keep it and be preparing the flour for chapati or paratha or something like that. Now that is considered to be a platform. Similarly, if hardware is there, on the hardware, you want to develop a software. Software means software codes. So software codes, if you want to develop, you should have a background that is called as platform. So platform as a service. And the last one is, yes, software as a service. Nowadays, we are having various other services like database as a service, data as a service, like that security as a service. Many things are, evolving. So the service is provided by the cloud computing service provider. Now they have given an example of a tablet, a laptop, a smartphone, a desktop, all are connected together to form what? To give document, training, finance, contacts, spreadsheets, email, all are available in the cloud computing scenario. So here the main concept is what they need on internet and pay only for what they use. A better example is electricity. Now characteristics of cloud computing. First one is electricity and scalability. What is elasticity and scalability? According to our need, we can expand or shrink it. So I give an example. So you need to have, let us say, 5 terabyte of database or storage capacity. 5 terabyte. Now suddenly your customer database increases, your business increases. Therefore, you need to have more space. So you go to the cloud computing service provider (CSPs) and you ask for the more space. Let us say you want 2 more terabytes. So additionally, 2 more terabytes can be immediately added. So this is what is elasticity and scalability. Suppose your customer reduced or your operation is reduced and or you are splitting it into 2 or 3 businesses. Now so much of storage is not needed. Therefore, you can reduce it to, let us say, 3 or 2 only. The remaining can be removed from our services. So both are possible. That's called as scalability and elasticity. Second one is pay per use basis. We have seen that. On demand. What is on demand? Suddenly there is a requirement. So if you give a request, immediately that will be provided. See, for example, you are going for a trip and you have engaged 2 cars with, let's say, 4 + 4, 8 members. Suddenly, some of our relatives or friends turned up to our house and they also want to join us with the trip. So you cannot, adjust because it is a long travel. Therefore, you just make a call to the call taxi or the travel agency. He will be able to send a car immediately. So that is on demand. It can be provided. Resiliency. What is resiliency? So when you are going for a work, so suddenly there is a failure. But if because of failure the work is disturbed or disrupted, then that's considered a failure. If not, in the other scenario, suddenly we will be able to recoup it or recover it and resume the work quickly. And that concept is called as resiliency. I always gives an example like this. 5 people are running in a 100-meter dash. One person wants to win the race. Therefore, he does what? He just, drags the leg of the other person, neighboring person, and he fell down. So if he fell down, the other people can proceed very quickly and they can reach the destination. But the person who fell down did not stop there. He suddenly, gets up and wins over the other people who are trying to drag him down. That concept is called as resiliency. How quick you are able to recover. And multi-tenancy in a single cloud environment, the multiple people will be using their services. Workload movement. What is workload movement? You are having, let's say, in a network, you have the router here, you have another router here. So the traffic is coming from here and here. So there are so many traffic which is accessing this router. So in this scenario, you just divert the traffic to this also. So this is called as load balancing, diverting the load to the neighboring computers. Wide range of network access capabilities. You can have different access with different capabilities, multiple. So you want to have a crane, it's available. You want to have a Maruti 800 car, it's available. Like that, various kinds of vehicles that travel agencies are maintaining, that kind of things is called as wide range of network access capacities. You want to have a big server, it's available. You want to have a robust application, that's also available. You want a normal application, that is also available. Then, advantages. Achieve economies of scale. You need not invest in infrastructure. If you want to install an information system for your organization, you have to invest, let's say, 1 crore in infrastructure, 50 lakhs in software, 50 lakhs in database. Like that, you have to invest huge amount of money. Instead of that, if you go to the cloud computing services, within just 1 lakh rupees per annum, they'll be able to provide the similar kind of services. Then reduce spending on technology infrastructure. So the same thing. Technology, when it is upgrading, immediately you have to install you have to upgrade. That is not needed because it is done by the service provider. Globalize the workforce. Anywhere from any part of the world, you can have access to the centralized server, which is located in cloud computing service. Because you need to have only username and password through which you will be able to access it. Next one is streamlined business processes. They manage underlying infrastructure to enable organizations to focus on application development in less time with less resources. So if you are doing it indigenously, it requires involvement of huge number of infrastructure, personnel, staff, etc. But in case of the cloud computing service providers, you just say the requirement, they'll be able to provide the software which are either ready-made available or easily which can be compiled. So thereby the time is utilized properly for our improvement in the business operations. Reduce capital cost because of non-investment in the infrastructure, automatically capital cost will be reduced. Easy access to information and application because it is available on the internet, anyone, anytime, any place you can access. Pervasive accessibility. It can be accessed anywhere, anytime using smart computing devices. Backup and recovery. You need not do any backup. You need not to go for any restoration. They are done by the service provider. Then monitor projects more effectively. It is feasible to confine within budgetary applications and they can be ahead of completion cycle times. So the projects can be monitored effectively and efficiently because it is carried out by whom? By the service provider. They have a specialized team, specialized infrastructure, quickly they can develop it. Less personal training is needed. So you need not give training to all the people, only the users you have to give the training. So it consumes less amount of time. Minimize maintenance and licensing software. There is no necessity for maintenance of the software because everything is carried out by the service provider. You need to install only a small software which is capable of accessing to the internet only. Load balancing, already we had seen. It is also one of the characteristics. Improved flexibility. So when you want, you can increase. When you don't want, you can simply. So these are all the merits or advantages of cloud computing. Drawbacks or demerits. Internet connection is lost, everything is lost. Security is also a major problem because everything is stored in a single computer or single network. Although it supports scalability, scaling up and down computing resources depending on the need does not permit the control on these services. That means control on the data or database server or computer is not with you, it is with the service provider. Therefore, your data, your application, everything is residing in the cloud, which is a dangerous one. You do not have control. And you have to depend on the service provider or vendor because he only will give you all the necessary things. You cannot do anything on your own. Interoperability is also an issue, but it is normally not an issue because interoperability is possible in cloud computing, but still it can create a problem for you. So these are all disadvantages. Now you have to be careful on this cloud computing environment. So there is something called as cloud computing features. So features means you have to mention the features of the IAS, IPS, and the network as no. So characteristics of cloud computing means you have to mention these characters, nothing but features of cloud computing. So if somebody is asking you to tell about you, then you will talk about your personal characteristics. If we ask you about a car, then you will talk about the features of the car. Similarly, features of cloud computing is elasticity, scalability, pay-per-use basis, on demand, then resiliency, multi-tenancy, workload movement over a wide range. Whereas advantages is a little different. What are the merits? So that you have to mention like merits are economies of scale, reduce spending on technology, globalize workforce, streamline the business process, reduce capital cost. You have to remember the subheading: pervasive accessibility, backup resiliency, monitor projects, etc. Demerits also but cloud computing environment means it indicates the types of clouds. So there are four types of clouds like private, public, community, and hybrid. And the models of cloud computing means IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, which we are going to study. Now, what is private cloud? It is maintained inside the premises of the entity. So, internal clouds or corporate clouds, which are kept on premises private cloud, are outsourced private cloud. What do you mean by the? Suppose you are a State Bank of India, so all the data related to your branch will be kept inside the private server. Though it is provided by the cloud, it is private for you because it is very sensitive data. Now, it is kept inside the premises, therefore it is safer. Same server can be installed in some other third party. You are going from your branch to that server, but still that is also private. So that is why they have mentioned this as on-premises private cloud, outsourced private cloud. Both are similar, but both are kept inside the premises or outside the premises. Now, characteristics of private, characteristics of public, characteristics of hybrid, all these things we have to see. First one is secure. So, private cloud now, it is inside your organization. Therefore, naturally, it will be secure. It is mostly under your control. Therefore, it is highly secured. Central control, yeah, you yourself can control, therefore centralized control. Weak SLA, what do you mean by weak SLA? SLA means service level agreement. The service level agreement is between the service provider and the service availing person on the conditions of the services provided. Suppose you are the car operator. Now another person is the customer or a client. So he just நம்ம இது இருக்கு இல்லையா what is it app Uber or Ola, something like that. You just place a ticket. I want to travel from Chennai Nungamakam to Chennai Anna Nagar. So once you say that, it will give a message or pop-up message saying that within 5 minutes or 10 minutes it will reach. Now within 10 minutes it will automatically reach and you can travel. It is safer. But if it takes, let us say, 1 hour, will you wait? Definitely, you will not wait. So the agreement between the service provider and the service receiver is maximum of 5 minutes. Suppose he says maximum 5 minutes and he comes 15 minutes or 20 minutes later, you will, sometimes, there is possibility of missing the train or a flight, etc. So during such a scenario, you will try for compensation. So that is mentioned in the SLA, service level agreement. Now, this is weak in case of private cloud. Why? Because it is within you, the service is provided by you, and it is available by you. Therefore, there is no big deal. Whereas in public cloud, it will be strong. Then advantages, disadvantages, just go through that. Public cloud is also cloud infrastructure that is provision for open use by general public. Characteristics are highly scalable. You just imagine a train, a bus. If you want to add one more coach, it is possible. If you want to hire one more bus for travel, it is possible. So similarly, you just imagine highly scalable. You can increase the service, increase the server capacity or data capacity or software capacity, whatever it is. See, for example, Sarana Source, you develop a software. So Sarana Source, the software can handle the operations simultaneously. Let us say simultaneously you make entry for 100 users. It's possible. For an Aadhaar system, 1 lakh users or sometimes more than that. So if you want to increase the size, it is possible. for the application to include or server to increase, or any data to in database server to increase. Affordable, so it is within our reachability. Less secure, yes, because it is public in nature, therefore automatically security will be lesser. Highly available. So bus, you are taking a CTC bus, you are traveling, suddenly there is a failure. Now, immediately another bus will be coming or while another bus is going, you will be transported to the next neighboring, the forthcoming bus, so that your travel is not affected. Similarly, when the server fails, if it is in our case, we have to wait until the server is getting repaired. But in the case of cloud scenario, it is not like that. If a server fails, they will be able to provide the services from the other servers which are available, readily available, highly available. Then stringent SLAs. Why stringent SLAs? Because it is in public. Therefore, naturally, you have to go for stringent SLA. Otherwise, there will be outage, huge amount of outage. So these are all the characteristics. So advantages and disadvantages. Let's go to that. Hybrid clouds, combination of both private, public, combined together, we call it as hybrid. Characteristics, scalable as usual. Then partially secure. Why? Because partially private, partially public, therefore partially secure. Stringent SLAs, it is also coming with the public, therefore stringent SLAs. And complex cloud management. Who manages private, who manages public, and how they are able to manage, how they are able to cooperate, all these things are complex and difficult. Then community cloud for a specific community. Say, for example, for auditors, we have a cloud. So that is called as auditors community cloud. Similarly, chartered lawyers, doctors, etc. So characteristics, collaborative and distributive. Somebody from doctor, somebody from chartered accountant, somebody from advocate, all are joining together, therefore collaborative and distributive. Partially secure as usual and cost effective. The cost is, which is, so advantages as well as disadvantages. Now, this is also important. As I said, cloud computing service models. So you have to be careful in answering the questions. If they ask the question about cloud computing service model, you remember this word service, IaaS, infrastructure as a service, PaaS, platform as a service, SaaS, software as a service. You remember that service. This is cloud computing service models, whereas this is cloud computing environment. Cloud computing environment. So you have to answer accordingly. Because during the correction of the mock test answer sheets, I came across different answers altogether. So beware of such kind of small, silly mistakes. So as we have seen, if infrastructure is provided, it is called as infrastructure as a service. If platform is provided, it's platform as a service. And software is provided, software as a service. Now, characteristics of IaaS. It is simple to understand. Sometimes they have to ask a question on this. Web service or web access to resources. See, infrastructure can be accessed through the web services. That is the meaning. So it enables IT users to access infrastructure resources over the internet. Accessing the huge computing power, the IT user need not get physical access to the servers. Why? Because physical access means what? Directly you are going to the server. But it is not like that. Remotely you are going to the server, therefore through web access. Centralized management, naturally, elasticity and dynamic scaling, shared infrastructure, these are all common metered services. This already we had seen the same thing. Now, instances of IaaS. So far, they have not asked question on this, but if they want to ask, it is very much possible. And this is simple also. So when you talk about the instances of infrastructure as a service, instances means the subdivisions, something like that. So what is infrastructure? Infrastructure means all the hardware. So you bring into your mind the hardware devices. First one is network as a service. So network is a hardware. Storage as a service. Again, you want to store, it is also a hardware. Database as a service. So DBMS. Then backend as a service. So all the architecture like hub, switch, router, everything. Then desktop as a service. It is nothing but front end. So the computer, what we are using, is called as front end. Now, all are coming under the category of instances of services. What service? Instance of infrastructure as service. So first one is network as a service. So the network is provided. Storage as a service. Storage is provided. Database as a service, as well as backend and front end. You should not write front end. You should write desktop as a service. Next, platform as a service. So it provides the users the ability to develop and deploy an application on the development platform provided by the service providers. You have to remember these two words, develop and deploy. Platform nale, develop and deploy. Chapati, paratha, develop and deploy chapati or paratha, you need to have a platform. Similarly, develop and deploy an application software, you need to have a development platform. So we use so many operating, so PaaS provides a pre-built computing platform consisting of OS. So platform OS, programming languages C, C++, Java, .NET, Python, database, Oracle, MS Access, etc. Testing tools. Apart from some build tools, deployment tools, and software load balancers. So these are all considered to be the platform. So they have given example of Google App Engine, Windows, Azure. The last one is software. It is giving the ability of the end users to access an application over the internet, hosted and managed by the service providers. For example, you want to have a tally. So tally you need not develop, simply go to the net, access it, coming out. That's all. Now, instance of software as a service. When you think about software, testing has to be done for software. API, if you remember yesterday we have discussed, while we were discussing about the operating system, hardware, different hardware or interfaces. So API, we have discussed application programming interface, which is connecting. So they have given best example of Google Maps. Google Map applications programming interface now. So see, you have a phone which needs to have a navigation. So first point, you have to be known where you are. So that requires GPS, global positioning system. So you are connected to the network service provider, who is again connected to satellite, and through that you will be able to know where you are located, GPS. Second thing, you want to travel to a particular location, so you should have a map. So that map is called as Google Map. So there are different roads, etc. Third one, they should, the global satellite should be able to track your movement. So according to your movement, this tracker will communicate to the service provider. Service provider will communicate to the mobile phone. So thereby, many are connected. Google Map, GPS, satellite, your service provider, and each is having different softwares. So all are clubbed together to form, or all are interlinked or interfaced together using something called as API. Is just like acting as a middleman between all these resources, API. Now, last one is email as a service. It provides email to the users. Then other clouds. So communication as a service that is used to use for communication purposes. Data as a service. Nowadays, you want to have a data in the form of text or images or sound. That is also available as a service. Security as a service, as I mentioned. Security. What is security? CAA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So you want to maintain firewall, or IDS, or IPS, or any kind of username, password, authentication, authorization. Everything is provided as. Now, even identification as a service. So you want to develop, authentication services like directory services and even monitoring, single sign-on services. What is needed? You need to have a username password. That username password service is also provided by the computing, cloud computing services. Now we have seen, if you remember, LDAP, TACAS, Kerberos, etc., which is used in identifying the identity of the user. So here it is also available in the cloud. The pertinent issues related to computing. First one is threshold policy. So it mainly talks about the SLA. In SLA, everything has to be properly, incorporated. Interoperability is also an issue. Why? Because you are having one computer software, I am having one, and the cloud computing person is having another software. Little difficult sometimes. Hidden cost, but it is not so. But anyhow, they are mentioning that. Unexpected behavior. Suddenly there is a fault or a failure. Unexpectedly it can happen. Security issues naturally because it is in the cloud. Legal issues. The cloud is there in USA, or in Australia, or in Sri Lanka. The rule or regulations are different from India and UK and USA. Software development in cloud. You are going to develop a software. If it is there in your premises, you'll be able to develop according to your interest, your time, your nature, etc. Whereas in cloud computing, you have to adjust yourself with the available platform in the cloud. So SDLC means system development lifecycle. The bugs in large scale distributed system. Because the cloud computing services are provided to many users, thousands of users, there is every possibility that the bugs could be there. Right. The next heading is mobile computing. It is simple. You are carrying your devices like your laptop, smartphone, or your PDAs to your centralized server environment and using it. So you are taking your phone connected to, or your laptop connected to the centralized server, but within the premises of the corporate. That is called as mobile computing. So the components, it is a often repeated question. Kindly mark this as important. The components are number one, mobile communication. So it refers to the infrastructure put in place to ensure that seamless and reliable communication goes on. Seamless means continuous, without any interruption. Mobile hardware. It involves mobile devices or device components that receives or access service of mobility. So they are given example of laptops, smartphone, tablets, PCs, etc. Then mobile software. So the software which is meant for the mobile hardware. You are taking a laptop, separate operating system. You are bringing your smartphone, separate operating system. You are bringing your PDA or notepad, tablet, then separate operating system, like that. Then working of mobile computing, it's very simple. You are connected. You are setting your OS connected to the OS of the server. You are transmitting data, you're receiving data, you're storing data. All these things are explained here. Benefits, you go through that. Limitation also go through that. It is very simple, but you have to definitely go through this. Don't leave it. So first one, mobile computing has enabled users to work from anywhere as long as they are connected. So access from remote location is possible. Second one is reduced traveling time from different locations, because from any place you'll be able to connect, from your house also, from your picnic spot also you can connect. Employees' productivity has been increased because you are working in an atmosphere where you are happy. Then mobile computing enables on to improve services offered to the customer. Then increased information flow, facilitates excellent communication, and provides mobile workforce with remote access. So the same point is repeated, remote access. The limitation, insufficient bandwidth. Many are coming in, so there is a possibility of lesser bandwidth. So they can go for enhanced data rates for GSM. global system for mobile communication. Edge, evolution, 3G, 4G. Nowadays, we are having 5G. So this has been overcome by 5G now. Security standards you have to enable because you are using VPN, virtual private network. We have seen what is VPN yesterday. So that is needed for secure transmission of communication. Then power consumption and transmission interferences. If you are in a remote place or a hill station or in a remote location where internet facility is not there, then a lot of transmission interferences could be there. Potential health hazard. Why? You are keeping always your smartphone with your head. So that will cause cancer like things, etc. Then human interface with the device, of course. Even now, human interfacing with the devices. So you want to talk to your mother or your father, you are in one room, your father is another room, you are sending message. So you are living with, devices. You are not talking to the person, rather you are talking to the devices. The same thing happens in the mobile computing. The next one is green computing. It's very simple to understand. You just recollect the things related to the ecological or environmental friendly aspects like green tree, then environment pollution has to be reduced, electricity pollution or noise pollution, water pollution, all kinds of pollution should be avoided. By what? By installing or following the ethics in the form of maintaining our computers or using our electronic gadgets, which will help the government or the public to underutilize or not utilize the natural resources, that is exploitation of natural resources like trees, cutting the trees for manufacturing the papers. Now it is not that because of usage of computers. Similarly, power supply, you are using computers continuously, the power supply is needed. So during your idle time, it's not used. No, during that time, the computer should be switched off, the power supply should be switched off, the communication equipment power supply should be switched off so that you will save the energy. And various kind of stuffs are given in the form of green computing. So what are the best practices? Number one, develop a sustainable green computing plan. So involve stakeholders, encourage IT companies for using best practices, ongoing communication about campus commitment to green IT, include power usage, then use cloud computing so that multiple organizations share the same computer resource. That is, instead of purchasing different computers for different departments, you can use single server for different departments like that. Then recycle, e-dispose waste, then discard used unwanted electronic equipment without any harmful emissions. The manufacturer must have the end of the life as well as recycling. Recycle computers to manufacture recycling services. The next one is make environmentally sound purchase decision. While purchasing itself, you should be able to make a decision. Right, desktop computers, notebook, environmental attitude, providing a clear, consistent set of performance criteria. Then recognize the manufacturers who give efficient and effective computer. Use server and storage virtualization that can help to improve resource utilization. Reduce paper consumption, conserve energy. So here they are mentioning about CRT computers should not be used with cathode ray tube, whereas LCD can be used, which is giving you the less power consumption. Then use notebook computers, use power management system, power down CPU, try to do computer related tasks during contiguous intensive blocks of time. Wherever possible, devices can uh, perform more than one function should be used. That is, for example, multi-purpose printer, scanner, fax, etc. can be activated simultaneously. Power up and power down energy, employ alternative energy resources, adopt more of web conferencing than traveling. So these are all the green IT policies or plan. Second one is green IT security services and challenges. Evaluate the actual security mechanism in order to assess their energy consumption, building new security mechanism by considering the energy cost from the design phase. So from design itself, you should be keeping in your mind how the security can be green supportive. Now the next concept is BYOD, bring your own devices. It is very simple. You bring your devices into your company premises. instead of the company provided instruments or devices, you are using your own device, your own smartphone, your own laptop, whatever it is. Advantages. They asked a question on this. Mark this as important. BOAD. What is BOAD? What are the advantages as well as disadvantages? Happy employees, because you are bringing your own device, you will be happy. You need not use the company's company provided, because in some of the cases I had seen, the mouse will not be working properly. So there'll be trouble in operating mouse. They will not change the mouse also even. So it will take some time, but we are not like that. Suddenly will change so that everything can be used, comfortably. Lower IT budgets, because the company need not spend on purchasing the infrastructure. It is brought by the workers. IT reduces support requirements. If it is maintained in your office, there should be a support team or a maintenance team which has to take care of the computers. But you are maintaining that, therefore no necessity. Early adoption of new technologies. So 5G is arrived. BSNL, even now 4G is not updated, but all the Reliance and other kind of Geo, etc. They have enabled 5G, and they are providing different perspectives and services to all the clients. Similarly, when the technology is upgraded, immediately we will upgrade, because we are using for our purpose. Increase the employee efficiency. Since you are using in your computer, your laptop, your PDA, the fast will be, their efficiency is improving. Threats. Network risk. So lack of facility. What do you mean by lack of facility? 100 computers are connected. You are bringing your computer as 101. So the maintenance people or the network administrator or the system administrator do not know. No, he does not know, or she does not know which computer is located where. That is a network risk. So if any problem arises, he cannot guess or fix where the problem is prevalent. Next is device risk. Loss of devices. What do you mean by loss of devices? You are carrying a laptop. Suddenly, while you are going for lunch or you are going for an outing, so the device is lost. While you are carrying your laptop, it is lost. So all the data which is very confidential or kept inside the laptop, it will be a danger. So better to have a encrypted form of storage. Application risk. If you bring a software which is loaded with your malware or virus, so every possibility is there, it can be communicated to the company network. Then implementation risk, weak BOD policy. What is weak BOD policy? So the management will say you have to install, let's say, one firewall, but you will be adamant in saying that I will not install this firewall because I have already a robust firewall which is so good. So there may be some issues because of these kind of adamancies. So that is implementation risk. Next is Web 3.0. What is this 3.0? 3.0 refers to semantic web. Now, to understand this, initially when web was developed, first it was static. What do you mean by static? Let us take you take the example of ICAI.org. Initially, I hope many of you may not be aware of this. It was static. Static means what? You could access it. You'll be able to read whatever is seen in the single screen. That's all. You will not be able to see the next screen. Suppose you want to know some other item, you have to type next URL address or different URL address. So to read the other item. So it is static. It is static. There is no movement. This is Web 1. Second one is dynamic. What is dynamic? You connect to ICAI.org, you click a hyperlink, you will be taken or you will be carried to the other locations. So that's what now you are experiencing. You go to ICAI.org, BOS, Board of Studies, Knowledge Portal, and then you can go to Internet Gate or Final or Foundation. Accordingly, you are able to scroll through and you are running. So that is 2.0. What is 3.0? The best example is your Facebook. So Facebook, you just upload it, the video, audio, messages, photos, etc. WhatsApp also similar way, Instagram also similar way. Now, what happens if you want to tag it? You are able to tag it and forward it and publish it like that. It is interactive website. Interactive website. What do you mean by interactive? You are able to talk and they are able to give the comment. You can have likes or dislikes or comments. If you type something like birthday, immediately it is displayed to many people. So thereby you are able to interact with the website. Therefore, it's called as Web 3.0 or semantic web. So the data records that are publishable, reusable on the web through queryable formats. So it incorporates latest research in the field of artificial intelligence. What is this artificial intelligence? Just like human being, the computer is also responding. That is called as artificial intelligence. Simple example, the same Facebook, somebody is celebrating birthday. So you are typing in the comment box, happy. Once you type, you completely happy, immediately birthday will be shown so that you can select it and upload it or forward it or post it. So this is work of artificial intelligence. Then components, semantic web. So it is a common framework that could be used to share and reuse data across various applications, enterprises, and community boundaries. So this is what I mentioned. You can share the video, audio, or images that has been published by a person, or by a profile. You'll be able to share it to next person or a group of person or publicly. So this is considered to be the semantic web. So semantic web provides what? Web user a common framework that can be used to share and reuse the data across the various applications, prices, and community boundaries. The web services, it supports computer to computer interaction over the internet. So web services from your Facebook to Instagram, Instagram to WhatsApp, etc. Then IoT, Internet of Things. What is Internet of Things? Internet, all of you know. What is things? The items which are connected. So your mobile phone is connected to internet. My laptop is connected to internet. So can you operate my laptop from your location? Normally, it is not possible. If you are able to operate, then that's it. That is called as Internet of Things. You are able to operate the things over the internet. So internet is nothing but network of networks which are we are connected either using the landline connection or using the mobile SIM card connections. So through the mobile SIM card connections, your phone, my phone is connected. We are able to talk, or we are able to share the images, videos, etc. So through whom we are connected? Through the internet we are connected. Who is the intermediary? The SIM or the landline number. Now, through the same methodology, if you are able to operate the devices, say for example, today I'm just starting, now I'm closing the classes by 9 o'clock. So I have to reach the office by 10 o'clock. Suddenly I am getting ready and I'm just moving fast because the traveling time itself is 40 minutes. So at the urgency, what I do, in fact, there is no water. So I switch off the motor pump and forgetting to switch off the motor, I moved out of my house. Assume that no one is residing in the house except me and my family, which is also, went out for employment, etc. Studying. My children gone for studies. Now, who is there in the house? No one. So, what happens to the motor? Motor will keep on running until it bursts or fires. You get fired. Now, while traveling in the bike or a car, I just come to my memory. Oh my God, I forgot to switch off the pump. So we have to come back and switch off, or we have to seek the help of the neighbors. But instead of that, through your SIM card, through your mobile phone. Assume that in the motor pump, a software is installed. A software is installed. Now, through that software, you are able to communicate with the software of the motor pump from your mobile phone and say switch off. And the switch is switched off. Similarly, any kind of devices can be activated remotely using the mobile connection or internet connection, and that is called as Internet of Things. So the washing machine can be operated like this, AC can be operated like this, fans can be operated like this. Very many instruments are operated like this. All these are considered to be are called as Internet of Things. So what are the applications like CCTV camera? The CCTV camera, one person is sitting in the USA. In Tenambet, it happened 1 year back. He was simply scrolling through the CCTV camera. Her mother and father, age-old mother and age-old father, they went for shopping. So if they go for shopping, they are slowly go and slowly come. That is walking and walking only. They do not use the vehicles. So it will take minimum 1 or 1.5 hours. So slowly, jovially, they will talk and they will walk and come back. So using this opportunity, one of the thief entered into the house. So this gentleman from America, USA, he just watched the clippings of CCTV camera live stream. So when he was watching, a thief was entering into the premises. So suddenly he called the neighboring police station, and within few minutes, the police came there and caught the culprit. So this is possible because of Internet of Things. Like that, very many items are there. Just go through that. Wearables, smart city, smart car, grids, industrial Internet of Things, connected car, connected health, smart retail, smart supply chain, all are connected. Then risk to product manufacturer, like impact of business. So when Internet of Things is introduced, old things will be removed. Data storage and analytics, as well as intentional obsolescence of device. Obsolescence means going outdated. So risk to user of these products, security is a risk automatically. Privacy, autonomy, control. So what is the security? Now, you are doing a surgery in Mayat hospitals using the service of the doctor who is there in the USA. Now, if someone, hacker intrudes into in between this USA doctor and Indian doctor, he may give a few comments over the internet. Sometimes, if that is adhered, probably the patient will die. So this kind of security risk is there. The privacy, autonomy, and the control, then technology risk as well as environmental risk due to technology. What is this privacy? Now I said CCTV camera can be monitored. Similarly, if another person also installed the same username and password in his own mobile phone, then he can also see what is happening inside the house online from his mobile phone. Then AI. So AI is nothing but artificial intelligence, the ability to use memory, knowledge, experience, understanding, reasoning, imagining, and judgment to solve problems and adapt to the new situations. So what is AI, artificial intelligence? Nothing but ability to use memory, to use knowledge, to use experience, to use understanding, to use monitoring, imagination, judgment, to solve any kind of problems. The ability described above and executed by machines is called as artificial intelligence. Next is machine learning. What is machine learning? The machine learns us. The machine learns our behavior. Say, for example, you are going to, in now itself, I am just experiencing this. So I used to go to bed by 22:30 or 10:30 or 11 p.m. So if I use a mobile phone, let's say by 11:30, and it is simply saying sleeping mode, sleeping mode. I think you are touching in sleeping mode. Like that, some message is popping up and it is not allowing me to open immediately. So I have to slide it, and then only I'm able to open the phone. So this indicates what my sleeping time is. So today I checked it. Morning I used to wake up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock. So after 4:30, it does not restrict me. But in one day I checked during the midnight, like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. At that time also it is saying the same thing, sleeping mode, something like that. So the reason phones are having the machine learning capacity. This is one example. Another example, you are traveling every time and at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock you make order, Zomato, you are making order for the food. So one day if you forget, automatically it will pop up message saying that you place order, the hotel is near. Like that it will give you. All these things are considered to be the things related to machine learning. Now, blockchain is the last one. So you just imagine a scenario like this: a building with different blocks in an apartment. In an apartment, you have various blocks. So you have block A, block B, block C, etc. So one block, two block, first floor, second floor, third floor. It starts from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, etc. or 12. Now, you want to develop something. All are interconnected. All are totally interconnected. Meshed topology. Now, if you want to develop communication, you send or you develop. Let's say you develop a data here. Data here. Now it is immediately reflected in all the computers, and nobody knows from where it is developed or where it is originated, but it is readily available in all the computers. This is the concept of blockchain. No one knows where from it is generated, no one knows where it is stored, but it is stored in every place. And the second foremost thing is you cannot modify that. You cannot modify the data which has been created. So that is why it is safe and secure. You created 10 lakhs and you cannot modify it as 11 lakhs or 9 lakhs. So cryptocurrency is an example for blockchain concepts. So blockchain, sometimes referred as distributed ledger technology, shared peer-to-peer and decentralized to open ledger of transaction system with no trusted third parties in between, no centralized server. This ledger database has every entry as permanent and it is an append only database. Append only means add only, which cannot be changed or altered. All transactions are fully irreversible. That is, you cannot modify. When with any change in the data, transaction being recorded as new transaction. Decentralized network refers to a network which is not controlled by any bank, any corporation, or any government. Blockchain generally uses chain of blocks with each block representing the digital information stored in public database, that is chain. So Google Doc is an example they have given. Let's go to that. Application, financial services, healthcare, government, travel, industry, as well as economic forecast. So there are a lot of risks also available. Namely, it cannot be, monitoring controls are designed for blockchain. There may be questions about who is responsible for managing risk. No one party is in charge of how proper accountability is to be achieved. So no one to monitor and no accountability because it is common. It is not centralized. If you have a centralized location, then you can fix the person. Then financial reliability of financial transaction is dependent on the underlying technology. If the technology is worst or bad, you cannot depend. And the absence of any central authority, it could be a challenge in the establishment, development, and maintenance of process control activities. In such case, users of public blockchain find difficult to obtain understanding of the general IT control. IT control means information technology control. So it involves humongous data getting updated frequently, risk related to information overload could potentially challenge the data. So suppose if it is overloaded, then performance will be. So we have controls related to the console. So the first point is the control. As opposed to traditional manual techniques, computerized continuous monitoring techniques shall be used to perform the ongoing evaluations. So ongoing, so just like CAS. Suitable data analytics procedures shall be developed to identify and obtain relevant and quality data from blockchain so that it can then be processed into information and subsequently can be used to support management business processes and reporting objectives. So data analysis is also possible. There is that is another control. Communication methods shall be developed to ensure that what is communication? Transmission of data. Operational changes and updates relating to the use of blockchain are communicated to appropriate personnel so that the internal control related responsibilities are carried out in proper manner. Suppose there is a change in the blockchain concept inside the blockchain servers, it should be immediately communicated to the person who is in charge of the IT department. Then unique aspects of blockchain such as consensus protocol, consensus is the same. Smart contracts and the private keys, as well as the factors relating to the ongoing health, governance, and overall reliability of the blockchain in use will be assessed thoroughly. So consensus means common parameter to all. Both internal and external auditors shall be engaged in discussion during the development identification of a blockchain so that the management can understand the typical auditability issues. So what are the auditability? Auditability is a real tough job in blockchain because we do not know where from it originates. How can we verify that? Very difficult. So subsequently, processes can be established to mitigate against those issues so that appropriate information support transaction is available. But the content of blockchain developers is no need to have audit because we are all so sophisticated. That is what secure. That was their content. Anyhow, thank you very much. So we have covered chapter 4 also. Tomorrow we'll see the remaining concepts. Thank you. Good day.
Thank you so much for the session, sir. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.